Welcome to Political Platform. We are available for you on Ray Power FM, Africa Independent Television, as well as the program that is Political Platform on the YouTube channel. Thank you for staying with us, and we're always happy that you are there to pick up all the reports we have for you, our analysis, and also listen to our very deep interviews we do daily on the program. I'm Okiri Agbonsuremi. Sit back there or listen wherever you are. If it is radio, you are listening on radio, in the car, just be comfortable that in the next 1 hour, we will give it to you just the way they are. Running across Nigeria to give you the political updates and the analysis of the events. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is currently facing serious issues regarding what it described as unauthorized release of restricted data information by officials who possess valid credentials to access its CVR, the Continuous Voter Registration Database. We have an expert who will help us understand and navigate the complexities behind these issues. Honorable Kingsley Chinda has been making headlines recently. I guess you have been following what is happening in Rivers State. Until yesterday, he held the position of the minority leader of the House of Representatives. Speaker Abba said former, when he was announcing it, he said former minority leader. But it was yesterday that it was announced that he had resigned. However, he contested and received the APC All Progressives Congress gubernatorial ticket without resigning first from the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, as is being alleged all over the place. He officially resigned from his role as House Minority Leader, as it was announced yesterday, during plenary with Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, reading a resignation letter dated April 23, 2026, that is just yesterday. Additionally, he formally resigned his membership in the PDP, also to the notice of the public yesterday, approximately 2 weeks after acquiring the APC ticket in Rivers State. There are ongoing court cases, factional disputes within the PDP and even the APC regarding the eligibility to contest the upcoming elections by Chinda. These are challenging times for the candidate in the upcoming Rivers election that has the support of Minister Wike. Public schools in Oyo State remain closed, and protests have erupted across parts of Nigeria, urging the government to act swiftly to secure the release of the 46 abducted students and 2 teachers still in captivity. Presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga warned yesterday that some images being shared on social media claiming to be those of abducted students are actually pictures of torture and maltreatment of students in Mali, not of our children in Oyo State or in Borno State. Of course, the allegation is that even the terrorists can bring those pictures, pump it into our space, and we continue to share them to terrorize us, because each time some people cannot even eat. They can't eat when they see those pictures. Some people lose their sleep. They can't sleep when they see those pictures. So that's why they are called terrorists. They terrorize us. So what Bayo Onanuga is telling us is that we should be mindful of what we are sharing. That does not remove the fact that there are actual pictures being shared from the camp of the children where they are the head, and they are being sent to families who share with the members of the public what is happening around. But again, it is like a catch-22 situation. Do I share? Do I not share? If we don't share, how do we know what is happening to the children? And if we know what is happening to the children, how does it make us sleep? How does it make us eat? Some people say, share it. Let us know what is happening. Let us mount pressure on the authorities to do what they have got to do. Some say, don't share, don't increase hypertension for certain persons. It depends on how you see it. My colleague, Uju Eje, is in the studio. Uju, welcome to the program. I don't know how you feel when you see those pictures.
Thank you. I feel terrible. Whether there are children in Mali, whether there are children in Nigeria, they shouldn't be going through all of those things. And honestly, I think that instead of the villa, the presidency, trying to emphasize these things, the emphasis should be on whatever progress has been made so far. You know, to allay the fears of Nigerians, to give them hope. Because some people have just resigned themselves to, look, whatever happens, this country, we are on autopilot, nothing is going right. But it shouldn't be so. At this point in time, we should be sensitive the kind of things we major on. I understand that Agbonbayo could say, oh, okay, we need to say these things so that people do not panic unnecessarily. But honestly, that shouldn't be the thing on the front burner. I mean, let us see something tangible, something to give us hope, something to give us a bit of joy that these children, their case is receiving attention.
I agree with you, Ju, that even if they want to share that information, if Bayo Onanuga or the presidency want to share that information, they should strategically share it not from their sources.
Exactly.
Because they can actually make... If Minister of Information is there to say this is what is happening, there are official channels.
Essays on new media and all of that.
There are essays on new media and all those things. When Bayo Onanuga begin to say this is what is happening, the people will say, okay, what is happening if this is not the situation?
What is happening?
Yeah,
exactly.
what is happening?
What
are you doing
point.
about it? They should anticipate that people will ask such questions.
Exactly.
But it doesn't remove from the fact that some of the pictures, as have been described, actually are not pictures from the camps of our children where they are kidnapped. I saw the pictures myself. Immediately I saw it, I just told myself, true, these are not the pictures. They have also cross-checked it online to see that they are not pictures. We don't know who is sharing them. It could be enemies within or enemies without.
Even the bandits could share it themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole intent is to put pressure on Nigerians and by putting pressure on the government to negotiate, to bring those children and to create fear and tension in the polity. That has always been their strategy. And for me, to that extent, I would say, look, let's stop sharing, let's stop promoting the activities, because it has not helped the country. Rather, it's pushing us deeper and deeper into a ransom-paying country all the time.
Mustafa Mohammed is also on the platform.
Thank you very much. The sharing of these gory pictures did not start now. At the height of the Boko Haram war 10 years ago, we have all seen online videos of people lined up by Boko Haram, butchering them like animals. And we've seen various pictures. Some of these pictures were even those of military officials that were captured.
Executed, yeah.
Yes, and then women, children, they butcher them like goats. And at the height of Boko Haram, gunshots and IED explosions in places like the Borno state capital have become so common that people refer to them as knockouts, banga, whatever you can call them. They become so. They went to an extent that there was a day I called a brother. I was talking with him on the phone, and he asked me, "Can you hear the gunshots in the back street of my house?" Can I say, yes, I was hearing these gunshots non-stop for over 3-4 minutes that we are speaking. When the insecurity continues, Nigerians usually will, or human beings will usually develop a thick skin because these things have become the new normal. But I think we need to go beyond this. The security agencies of government need to double up their action. And just like it happened in Borno, they can form civilian JTF who knows the nooks and crannies of this forest so that they can assist the Nigerian army and the police. Because if you look at the landmass of the Southwest, especially around those where these things are happening, they are not as bigger as the Northeast or Sambisa or any other place you want to talk about.
All right. But we need to take a look at once again at the responses from Nigerians, the teachers. It is not just restricted to Oyo. We have protests in Rivers State. We have protests in Lagos. We have protests in Ibadan. We have protests in Abeokuta. In Abeokuta, I don't know why government is so insensitive to some of the things. Protesters had to, by themselves, force the gate open. They had to push the gate open and enter the government house. Shouldn't somebody have been there to receive them?
You see, again, governors make appointments, but I don't know how suitable some of the people they appoint are. Because, like you said, somebody should have been there to receive them. Even if the governor does not come out, there are assistants. There are SAs, all over the place, commissioners who should do that.
And it's not even too much for the governor
behalf
to come out and receive them. Because the governor should be sensitive that, look, this is a very serious matter.
The people are genuinely afraid. Let me tell you, when I saw the protests in Abeokuta, I said, Kai, these people are very sensible. Because look at Oyo.
Yes.
And look at Abeokuta.
Yes.
If it has reached Oyo, they can also not sleep because it's just right next door. So why would they not protest? And then instead of the governor to come and allay their fears, of course, as usual, our leaders are honestly looking at the surface, they are insensitive. And their appointees are also not doing anything to redeem their image.
It's actually not time for talking. In fairness to the governors don't command the police or the Nigerian army or any arms-bearing arm of...
so they don't have anything to tell
they actually don't have anything to... Do they even have... A governor doesn't even have a catapult. He doesn't have even a hunter's whatever.
Some of them do. There's a Moteku.
Let me finish, Uju. Let me finish. They really, the capacity of Ametekun and their training cannot be as much as those of the arms trained by the federal government, like the police and the Nigerian army. They need a strategy, they need intelligence, they need logistics to move into this forest, come everywhere, and free these kids so that we don't have issues like the Chibok girls several years after a lot of them have not been rescued. We only happen to see a few who have escaped, and then we see them being celebrated in the media. It's actually very sad. I wonder if the parents and the relations of those who were abducted could actually sleep. There are still a lot others who are under the Boko Haram, ISWAP, and whatever, even in the Northeast. That's why you find that the crises are expanding. They fail to come to an end. So sad.
Now, we have the teachers mobilizing around Nigeria, and it was actually a directive from Abuja, the headquarters of the NUT,
yes,
that teachers in your state should actually stay off and as part of the measures to put pressure. But whom are we actually mounting the pressure on?
It's not even just to put pressure.
We are mounting pressure on people, on a government that doesn't appear to be concerned so deeply the way we want them to be concerned. We are mounting pressure on people who have thick skin. They are only concerned about their welfare. They are only concerned about their allowances.
Politicking.
They are only concerned about their re-election, how they are going to come back. Are these the people we are mounting pressure on? Like you just said yesterday, the citizens are not doing enough. We are not mounting as much pressure as we should. Nobody is saying we should take to the arms of violence. Maybe we should all go to the street and sit down.
Ohiria, I think Nigerians need to be united on that. You see the Bring Back Our Girls convergence and continuous process in Abuja. Not many parts of this country came together or protested at various
In
parts of the
support,
country in support. And this thing happened in the Southwest, and you don't see other Nigerians protesting or making their voice known from other parts of the country.
Regional divisions.
We have to put aside this regional, ethnic, tribal, religious division. We have to put humanity as the forefront of our life.
I agree with you, but you remember that when the Chibok incident happened, those who were the forefront of the protest were not actually from the north.
Exactly.
They came up and they stayed on the streets. But
But
after some time, it died down. Now, as we are talking about Oyo State now, those ones that are arrested that were also kidnapped in Borno State, they are there. They have not released them.
Exactly.
So, and what are our brothers doing? Also, we can see protests in most southern states, in many of the southern states. It is like our brothers and sisters in the north are overwhelmed. They have seen it too many that they don't even know how to react anymore.
Okay,
Like
there are a
Yoruba
lot of
say,
youths who have joined the civilian JTF. People from the neighborhood, higher institution students, youth from among the civil servants who have voluntarily found time to go out for a few hours or a few days with the civilian JTA, which the government with the army later organized into an institution. If you're moving around Borno State, you find them at various checkpoints. And if the army personnel are going into raid in the forest and the camps, they go with them. So in the north, they work silently. And some of the civilian JTF in Borno were also brought to places.
What
like
about the teachers? What about the parents? What about the people like we are seeing in the south? What about people who are... I'm not blaming them. I'm thinking that they are overwhelmed. They have taken this thing too deep into their psyche that my people say if you keep a chicken, a fowl, away from food for a long time, when you drop the food, it will be looking at it. Will not be able to.
Very strange kind.
It will be, yes. So they are overwhelmed. They have been beaten, but the leaders don't show that they have a people that have been so beaten. Their psychology is in tatters, and they don't have
because they are somehow insulated from all of this. The citizens have conceded so many privileges to them that they feel that they can never be part of the sufferings of Nigerians. The system that we have built, the systems that we have created have given them so much insulation. I mean, insecurity hardly affects them. They have high-wired houses and everything. All the security. They have several policemen and the military guarding them that should be guarding the people. We've given them so much. We've conceded so much to them. And I think that until we begin to review the system, until we begin to take certain actions as citizens to hold them accountable and responsive to the needs of the polity. We
have just 2 sentences. They should have a security architecture in which parameters are guarded, not individuals. When you guard parameters, the bad boys cannot freely move. But when you guard individuals, the parameters are porous and open. And let me tell you something. One of the biggest reasons for the crisis is the proliferation of arms and ammunition. From Libya to Niger to the forests of Nigeria with camels, they come in with
arms everywhere. Free arms
everywhere. The Nigerian security forces.
I think we reported. I remember. We reported on political platform at the beginning of Boko Haram when those crises after the war in Liberia and all those, that you could actually go across the borders in Borno and pick up an AK-47 for 4,000 naira then.
Niger, Chad, Cameroon borders.
It's as cheap as tomato. You can just go there and pick it up. That is what we have. But let's take a break. When we come back, we go into the mainstream political reports. What is happening in the National Assembly? Are they doing the cover-up for the events in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State, and at the Independent National Electoral Commission? What manner of men do they have? Can we trust them in the conduct of the elections? Now that they themselves have admitted that officials who have access to their database compromised, they are still investigating. I don't know, maybe they will tell us the name later, but let's take a break. We'll come back and Political Platform will continue its full steam.
New chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Power Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested, truths are uncovered, and the people's voice is heard. Join seasoned hosts and expert guests as they tackle the issues that define our democracy. No filters, no distractions, just real talk. Political platform now on AIT, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday. Stay informed, stay engaged, be part of the conversation.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT on air, online, live.
The issues as they break, the multitude, the political figure, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
Thank you for remaining with us on Political Platform. As we promised you, we'll be going to the National Assembly now to do some analysis, tell you some stories and some of the issues behind the scene. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas announced the transition of Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda from the PDP to the APC, citing a resignation letter dated April 23rd, 2026. Now, there are three major issues to take a look at. Running for the APC while still a member of the PDP, that is a contentious. Whether his defection followed the procedures outlined in the Electoral Act and the Constitution. You know, there are only two basic reasons why a member of the National Assembly or the State Assembly can defect. One, if the party is in division, and if the party is in a merger. Those two situations. Now, the third point is recognition of the internal factions within the Rivers APC. Now, let's take a track up of the speaker saying this yesterday, and I will point out a particular word in his statement.
The former minority leader, his letter reads as follows. He said, I write to formally tender my resignation from the position of minority leader of the House of Representatives with effect from the date herein, being 23rd day of April 2026. It has been a profound honor and privilege to serve in this capacity, representing the collective interests of the minority caucus and contributing to the legislative work of the House. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have worked under your leadership and alongside distinguished colleagues in advancing democratic governance and national development. I remain fully committed to my duties as a member of the House and will continue to support the work of the legislature in every way possible. Please accept the assurances of my highest esteem and continued regards. Signed, Honorable Kingsley Chinda.
That is the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, talking about reading out the letter. The first two sentences, the first two words in that sentence is the former minority leader, the three first sentences. When did he become former? Was it yesterday he became former, or since April 23rd, when he said he wrote that letter. Still a member of the PDP and minority leader, that appeared before the APC screening panel in the Rivers Gubers primaries. This packed double membership claims. May 21, 2026, he was declared APC gubernatorial candidate of Rivers 2027 elections. And he has been actively, I don't think the House had not sat since April 23rd. The House they have sat since April 23rd. But just yesterday, it was read and it said former. Meanwhile, there are about 3 or so cases in court, factions, where we saw that in one of the decisions or the determination that was reached by the court, Abbas was thrown the Chinda was thrown overboard. Now, what is happening in Rivers State? How does it really tell on the workings in the National Assembly as we have seen it, and how does it tell on the nomination?
That case is one case that I really do not understand, because for the first time since 1999, we're beginning to see things that we have not seen in our political terrain, in the last 26 years. First, there were moves to impeach him as the minority leader of the House of Representatives. Moves were made 2 or 3 times, which he resisted. And somehow, at a stage, there was this kind of dodge and look for game at the National Assembly. And then suddenly, he emerges as the candidate of the APC. If you knew you were going to come on the platform of the APC, why didn't you exactly? Why were you resisting? Okay, impeachment is not a good thing, but you could have resigned, and he did not resign at that point in time. And then we're beginning to see a situation where somebody is a minority leader, is still a member of the PDP, and he has the ticket, the governorship ticket of the APC. I don't know if you've seen that before. I think this is very, very strange. Our current politicians are introducing things that are so strange. I don't think they have even happened in the past.
Mustafa, you remember that it is just because of the amendment to the Electoral Act that stopped the nonsense, what I would call the nonsense. Because we had in the past where primaries were held for one position, and then when they fail in that position, they move over to the other position. I can't.
That one, you said they move over.
Yes.
In this case, there was no move over, and then there was a ticket. There is a ticket.
So we have seen. That's probably why they try to amend the laws almost every day to see that. But as you are amending the law, you are blocking the hole. They are like rabbits. If you block this hole, they come out from the other hole.
But you see. The parties are the ones who submit the nomination of candidates to the Independent National Electoral Commission. And some of these things you just complain about are as a result of the loopholes in our legislations, whether the Electoral Act or some party rules that allow some of these inconsistencies to take place. But plus or minus, they will find a way of covering whatever issues that will become a problem for this gentleman, except if some members within the parties felt shortchanged and they had to court to file processes.
Some of them are in court already.
For pre-election matters. And even after the election, until they have an out-of-court settlement, except the matter will continue.
All right, we will go to the Independent National Electoral Commission. Our guest today is Mr. Moses Gabriel Molaye, chairman of the Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, INEC, in response to what has been happening, has stated that there were no external breach of the CVR database, nor any hacking incident. The electoral body has admitted that there was an unauthorized release of restricted information by a valid user. Our guest will be telling us the meaning of a valid user. And this situation is referred to as internal misuse of credentials. The data was accessed through valid user credentials assigned to personnel involved in the ongoing civic voter registration, the CVR exercise, but released without proper authorization. A lot of technical things in this. We'll also ask questions about the ethics, and we'll also ask questions about who has access, who does not have access, and what is happening within the policy. But before we get to our guests, let me quickly talk to my colleagues on what this could mean for the Independent National Electoral Commission. Quickly.
What it could mean simply is that they are losing more credibility in the eyes of Nigerians. Because in this case, this is somebody who has access, valid access.
Yes.
Which means their personnel cannot be relied upon at this point in time. Because if somebody has access, it has to be one of their personnel.
Yeah, who has the password.
Exactly.
To the database,
and
yeah.
if he can sell out, who says that other staff are not selling out at this point
Or they
in
have
time?
not been selling
Yes.
out.
And then, of course, don't forget what is still hanging on the neck of the chairman, the membership of the AP, the alleged membership of the APC. And, you know, INEC has not quite cleared itself of that allegation. Questions are already being raised. And then they are...
In a certain country, the INEC chairman would have tendered his resignation because that shows the electorates and parties may not be able to trust him to conduct a credible exercise. This is a very big scandal. INEC should go beyond complaining that it was an internal matter, somebody breached. And, the cybersecurity experts know that the way those things are designed, people have access. And once anybody access, it registers who, just like the banking system.
Yes. Now, let's meet Mr. Moses Gabriel Malai, who is the chairman of the Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter. Welcome again to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, what is happening?
Okay.
Just try and be as simple as possible because we can understand the details.
Okay. So a breach is a breach, regardless because first of all, let's define what a breach is. A breach is when someone has unauthorized access, basically. That means you've breached the security.
When you have unauthorized access.
Yes.
Suppose you now have authorized access.
Now, there is the part of having authorized access.
Yes.
But authorization to do what? That is another kettle of fish. Are you doing what you're doing? Is it within the confines of what you have authorization to do? Now, there are a lot of issues here. They say it was an internal person. Fine and good. But we didn't see that page on an internal person's post. It was the aide of a certain minister, and we saw it on his page. Now, there are two possibilities here. There's a possibility that he has credentials to log in, for him to have...
So that screenshot?
Yes, that screenshot. So when you go to the URL, you see admin.cvr, So from that URL, you can tell that this is the admin section.
Now let me just break here so that we'll get it. If you have access and you have the password and you pass it to me, assuming the information was passed to Lere Olayinka, and I take my system outside of INEC and log in, is it possible for you to find out where that login takes place?
Yes, there are audit trails. And typically, the system should show, or the trails should show where, what was done. You understand? So what was done, the time it was done. So,
which means we can clearly say from here that
yes,
it may not be Olayinka himself that entered through another system. Because if he had entered through another system, INEC would have told us, look, somebody entered the system, although they use legitimate, valid credentials to enter, but they are saying that there was no breach, but they believe somebody inside the house. So which means somebody inside the INEC was the one that took those shots and gave it to Lere Olayinka.
That is what INEC has said, though.
Yes.
However, like I go back to say, what is a breach? That in itself is a breach. Because if someone, a staff with valid credentials, would do that and further send information out, that is a breach. So people should know that even when you have cybersecurity incidents, more than half of the time, it is a person issue. It's not even about just the external actors. It's either out of ignorance or malicious intent, even within the organization. So it's a breach. Now, there are things that are not being addressed. You say there was no external intrusion. However, it wasn't hacked. But no, there's something called the insider threat, which is very dangerous, the enemy within.
Yes.
And from their description, following what they've said, that is what they are facing. And it's even probably more dangerous than even having external actors. So there was a breach. You can't say there wasn't a breach. Now, question that comes to mind is, now, how much of people's data have been even manipulated as we speak? Then number two, when things like this happen, we have the Nigerian Data Protection Act, meaning that when there's an incident around data, you are supposed to report to the commission within 72 hours of that incident. If not, sanctions should follow from the commission. We've not seen...
Were they aware that there was even because after it was reported, when one of the TV channels brought out when himself, Larry Olayinka, came up to say this is what he has, that should have sent a lot of strong worries to the Independent National Electoral Commission to trigger the report you are talking about. But they didn't.
Yes, because people, personally, I did too, tweeted at, on X, at INEC, and also copied the Data Protection Commission, saying that this issue has happened, and a lot of people did that too. So if they didn't see it on TV...
And they didn't respond.
There was no response. So if they didn't see it on TV, at least someone would have seen it online. And don't forget that the information that was put out there was... the subject or the data subject had his voter's identification number displaying. Now, that could lead to identity theft. Based on, the information there, malicious actors can use that information and, do a whole lot of...
Now, let us look at...
I would
Go
like
ahead.
to ask, is it also possible, because that's why I said that's what INEC is saying, but investigation is on. Now, what if it's found out that it is not exactly what INEC has told us? Is it possible for somebody from outside to hack into that system?
Of course. People have different levels of expertise. And then sometimes people could also get credentials through things like social engineering, having conversations with people, sending certain emails. Maybe there are links you click and you don't know that someone has hijacked, your access. So which I think is what should be addressed. They're only addressing the fact that there was no external intrusion. But
are they believable? Can we believe? Because they are conducting investigation. They are saying they are investigating. Then they are telling us there was no external. It's like a double talk.
Yeah. So until there's convincing evidence to show that, it could sway in any direction, but no convincing evidence has been put forward to say it wasn't an external. I'm not insinuating that it was. We're just saying it's a possibility. That it was. So one thing they are not addressing is actually the security of people's data. Saying only one was displayed, but there are 90 million records that are safe. How do I know it's safe?
Yeah.
If one could be displayed, then the other 90 million could as well.
So the extent, maybe INEC, Mustafa Mohammed, maybe INEC is investigating now how many of those shots, how many of those data information
have been breached,
have been taken out. How many people are around, whether each and every chairman of political parties around Nigeria already have
the information needed.
The information.
But of course, as an institution, it has been gravely embarrassed by this singular actor.
Are they embarrassed? They were not.
Exactly.
They are not embarrassed.
They don't have to come out and.
If they were embarrassed when they were told like he said upon seeing that thing, he knew that
have
they could have,
reported,
they probably didn't watch the
But
TV.
Okiria, you know how government institutions behave in Nigeria. Very serious things will happen, and they don't act the way they are supposed to.
That's why they are not embarrassed.
Then some of the things we Nigerians are supposed to know is that, okay, they know whose access or credentials were used to do that thing. Has he been arrested so that Nigerians will know that INEC and government are furious? That information about who did what is already there. Remember, in the past, some INEC officials were complicit during election, and we were told that they were going to be prosecuted. What happened? We don't know. Is INEC going to cover up this after giving Nigerians assurance that they are going to?
Let me ask Moses. Let us look at the ethics. Beyond the laws that we have, there are ethics for all professions, doctors, journalists, lawyers. You also have ethics. How do we relate this to your ethics?
Okay, so this borders around information security. And one thing you're supposed to do is so there are three things that borders around information security. It's called the CIA triad. Confidentiality, meaning that data should be confidential. People that have no business seeing or accessing the data shouldn't be able to access it. Then there's confidentiality, then there's integrity. Now, the integrity, in my opinion, is in contention, because if someone could log in, then that means it could be altered. So that integrity is in question. So integrity means that the data is accurate and it is complete. But if there's an alteration, it may be accurate but not complete, or complete but not accurate. Then there's availability. That means it should be available to who it needs to be available at what level. For instance, when I go...
Layers
yes,
of permissions.
Layers, yes. Yeah. So the kind of availability I need for data on, let's say, the INEC platform is different from what someone that needs to do administrative issues, So these things, if they are not addressed, so the ethics is these three things, if they are not in place, the confidentiality, integrity, and then availability as needed.
Now, just before we go, I'll ask you this last one. What can INEC do to restore the confidence that is being seriously damaged? Because you have doubts now whether they have done one thing or the other. And if at your level of knowledge you have doubts, then you can imagine what happens to ordinary. What can they do to restore confidence?
An independent audit. Independent audit, not by INEC, because even by the principles of audits, of course, they can do internal audits, but it needs to be the way it is. They need to do an independent audit. People that are independent of government, independent of INEC, so that the findings would be brought out and also recommendations will be made. Because if they were, I'll just give a simple one. If there were simple, maybe triggers, maybe if someone is going to access a profile and he shouldn't have, and all of that, who knows? Maybe the person that even got these credentials to log in to access this didn't have any business going to that part at the time. If there were triggers or something or some verifications, then probably, that would have been better. But for me, right now,
You're talking about limited access?
Sorry?
You're talking about limited access for those with credentials?
So it's called the principle of least privilege, meaning that you shouldn't have more access than you need.
That you are permitted to.
Yes, you are permitted to. So the question again, sorry, please, is when you say admin, now the admins, they are super admins. Does every admin have the same kind of access?
No, they don't.
So now, we don't know for sure, but they shouldn't typically.
I mean, ordinarily, even on a website,
yes,
when you have admins, it is not every admin that has access to all the layers.
Thank you. So
you have a super admin that can have access. You have limited admin and all those things. I think INEC should have done better in this. They should do better in explaining what has probably taken place. Our guests, Mr. Moses Gabriel Molai, is the chairman of the Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter. Thank you so much for the illumination you have thrown in. But now we can ask the questions. We can expect from certain things from INEC, and the members of the public can also begin to ask the INEC to not to audit itself this time around. The last time they audited themselves,
Yes,
you remember?
Yes.
They cleared the
We
chairman
need
and
an
said,
independent audit now.
all right. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you,
When
sir.
we come back, the last segment of the program, we'll take the mails and then we'll wind up. Please don't go away. You are on to Political Platform.
Is now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT on air, online, online.
The issues as they break. The multitude, the political figure, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
Governments seem to be incapable of protecting
The scheming,
This is not a period we should play by and go.
Thank you for remaining with us on Political Platform. Just as we wrap up, we are always mindful of sharing your perspectives from citizens' perspectives. We're always delighted to hear from you. Unfortunately, we can't take all the mails. We have several of them, so many tens of mails coming in. So we try as much as possible to share those your thoughts, your knowledge about what is happening, and your advice to the authorities. Suju, who is talking to us?
Amici Obochi from Kubwa in Abuja. He says, the Oyo State chapter of the APC has criticized Governor Seyi Makinde over the rising security challenges in the state, claiming that he has not done enough to address insecurity and should therefore resign from office. But how can the Oyo APC demand Makinde's resignation while insisting that President Tinubu should remain in office? This is the same Tinubu who, in November 2014, called on former President Jonathan to resign over insecurity in the country. Now the APC is asking a governor who has no direct control over the police, the army, the civil defense, or even the Boy Scouts to step down because of insecurity. Whether it is called stepping down or resigning, the APC must understand that the buck stops at President Tinubu's table, not Governor Seyi Makinde's. President Tinubu should focus on ensuring the safe release of the kidnapped school children. John Peters from Port Harcourt says, as innocent school children and their teachers remain in captivity, Nigerians are left wondering whether some of our leaders truly understand the pain of the affected families, considering the kind of words they spew. Senate President Godswill Akpabio once said that insecurity is being staged by political opponents and would disappear 2 weeks after elections. This is not about APC, PDP, Labour Party, or any other political platform. This is about innocent children whose only crime was going to school. At a time when children are trapped in captivity and parents are crying themselves to sleep, Nigerians expect urgency, compassion, and decisive action, not political arguments and election calculations. The federal government, security agencies, and all those in positions of authority must rise above politics and secure the immediate release of these children.
Yeah, and in Abuja here, Dixon Eka writes, if President Tinubu knows his enemies that are using insecurity to destroy his government, then he should crush them and not the rhetorics of being a stubborn politician. Those of us that supported his first tenure are utterly disappointed today, as Nigeria is worse off today than the failed Buhari regime. Insecurity festers like never before. The economy is worse than ever, borrowing like never before, but can't fund the budget. Nigerians are suffering untold hardship. No more welfare in the dictionary of government. Taking fuel from 280 naira to 1,370, generating so much with nothing to show for it. We are angry and hungry, and we will reduce his political stubbornness in 2027 if things continue like this. We are tired. Anugochukwu Godwin writes from Lagos. The level of misinformation on the social media is getting too much. Some content creators will sit in their rooms and send panic messages based on a rumor about bandits' attack in Ogun, Osun, causing some schools to close. As such, negative news gets traction so much. Government will come and go, but Nigeria remains. It's amazing how some people are rejoicing at some of these news because Tinubu is in power. It happened also during Buhari. We need to prevent this from happening instead of negotiating and rescuing. Police, army, air force have been equipped with lots of gadgets for 10 years now. Check their procurements. Still, they seem to be overrun. It's not normal. Is it normal?
No, certainly not. That's why I said they should try and fish out the moles from within themselves, because those bandits, terrorists, they get information of every meeting, every decision that is taken, even before the government acts. Let them fish out the moles within them.
Unfortunately, it's like the moles are everywhere. Even the Independent National Electoral Commission have some in them now. When we come back tomorrow on the program, we have more for you on the platform. Remember to send us your mails, politicalplatform@darkgroup.com. That is the route to reach us. My name is Okiri Agbonsuremi. On behalf of Mustafa Mohammed and Uju Eje, I want to thank you for remaining with us on the program and for sharing those wonderful mails that you have sent to us. Let's do it again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day ahead. I'm Okiri Agbonsuremi.